I'm Lindy.
And we are back from our New Year's hiatus of Turn of the Millennials.
Yay, Happy New Year's, guys.
Happy New Year's. We hope you all enjoyed your holidays, your New Year's, and the first few weeks of January. So
I'm enjoying it. We have lots of snow.
We have a tiny bit of snow, but it's freezing rain today, so I don't know if it's going to stay.
In some parts of my yard, it goes up to my thighs.
Oh my gosh. No, we haven't had any of that much snow yet.
The dog loves it.
On today's episode, we are going to be talking about TGIF on ABC.
Yeah, staple of our childhood.
Yes, so
Friday nights, that's where we were, in front of our television set.
Exactly. So for most of us 80s kids and 90s kids, TGIF was the thing to watch, like I said, thing to watch on Friday nights. If you're there, we weren't old enough to go to the bars yet or anything like that. And so this is what families kind of did. Friday nights, everyone would huddle around the TV starting at 8:00 and watch whichever shows were on during that time. All of those
awesome, amazing sitcoms.
It originally stood for Thank God or Thank Goodness It's Friday. And it started on September 22nd, 1989. And it ran until the first iteration ran until September 2000. Then they tried to relaunch it again in September 2003 to 2005. Then lastly, they tried to relaunch again in October 2018, and it only went till September 2019. So obviously the heyday was clearly in the 90s when it went from 89 to 2000.
I'm also going to throw in there that the reason why it didn't succeed, especially at least the third time, would be the generation's focus shifted completely.
Absolutely. They weren't
from
looking
TV
at
to everything's online now.
Streaming. Yeah. And in 2018, kids weren't watching Friday night TV anymore. They're
making
online.
Their own content too.
Yes, they're making their own content. They're wanting to be online. They're watching the shows that they prefer, because also with these, you had your commercials. Now with the streamings, we don't have commercials. You have certain shows that you had, like each show was on at a certain hour. And if you didn't like the show, you had to kind of either watch through it or turn off to another channel and then come back to this channel. Kids nowadays.
Yeah, I did that for a few shows where it's like, I'll come back in like a half an hour.
Or there was another show that you just liked on Friday night that might have been on NBC or something instead of ABC. But
Fox.
Right. Fox, exactly.
Fox.
But
ABC... I think The Simpsons were on Fox at 8:00 on Fridays, weren't they?
I can't remember.
The new episodes anyway. Unless
when I was super, super young, when I was in Brownies.
I think Thursday.
I was going to say when I was in Brownies, it was on Thursday nights. Because I used to miss it when I was in Brownies, because our Brownies was Thursday night and Simpsons was Thursday night.
I missed Full House because my Brownie meetings were on Tuesdays.
Oh, unacceptable.
I remember running home across the street at like 7:59 on a Tuesday. I'm booking it because it's the series finale of Full House in like 1994.
I remember that series finale. I think I was at Mark's sister's house watching it or something. I think it was an apartment on Ryback or something.
95,
I think it was
95. Yeah.
I think it's somewhere in here on our notes.
It is. We'll talk about it. Sorry. Didn't mean to jump the gun. Sorry.
But it's funny that you said Full House on Tuesday nights, because you are right. It was on Tuesday nights or vice versa. It was actually at one point part of TGIF.
Yeah, it started with TGIF because it started in 1989. And
on Friday nights,
started
on TGIF. And then they moved it to Tuesdays. That's what it was. They moved it to Tuesdays.
Yeah, it was moved to Tuesdays later on. But
so it was
one of the very first shows of the TGIF lineup. Yeah, along with, what were the other shows that it was?
So it originally started with one second here, I wrote it down. So so there was 3 existing shows and then 1 new show was brought in on the first season. So we had Perfect Strangers,
Woo-hoo.
Full House,
Yep.
Mr. Belvedere, and then Just the 10 of Us, which was a spinoff of Growing Pains.
I can honestly say I've never heard of that.
Me neither.
Never heard of it.
I assume
don't even know what that is.
Might have just been a season or 2, like a lot of things like that do. They last for one season.
It's kind of like I thought that I had completely made up this show in my mind because nobody had ever heard of it before, the Torkelsons. Do you remember that show?
I don't remember, but I remember you talking about it.
I fully was like, I was over the years never found one fucking person that has remembered this show. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to Drama Queens and fucking Hillary Burton mentioned like the Torkelsons when they were talking about Lee Norris. And I was like, yes, finally I have validation. It existed.
It's not a Mandela effect. It's not something I created.
Yes.
Like Shazam.
Thank you, Hillary.
Right? On this block, so as we said, it was kind of originally started as Thank Goodness, Thank God It's Friday, and it mostly comprised of family-friendly sitcoms.
Yes.
It kind of helps dominate the 18 to 49 demographic in the 90s.
Which is a huge demographic.
It is. But you gotta remember, a lot of those would have been the parents of us.
Yeah.
Like not the 18, but like once you get to like say the 30 to 49, those would be our parents. So of course they're sitting at home with us.
Yeah, and my parents definitely did enjoy a lot of those shows. Like I remember my parents liking Full House and Family Matters. And
yeah, and I remember for me, like we would, because we were going to dad's every other weekend. So every other weekend we would watch TGIF at grandma's house, and dad and grandma would sit down with us all the time. But they did notice throughout the 90s that there was a decline because as those 18-year-olds or whatever started, or some of those older Gen X's or younger Gen X's started to get older, they wanted to go out and party on Friday nights and not so much stay home and watch TGIF. But you still had the boomers and the millennials at home watching them. So it was originally created and produced by Jim Janicek. I'm not sure. Don't want to mess it up. He got the inspiration actually from The Wonderful World of Disney on TV, because that's, there was that 1 or 2 hours of The Wonderful World of Disney. Used to be on Sunday nights. I think on this one, he said it was on Saturday nights or something. So it's changed over the years. I remember
it being Sunday nights.
Yeah, so I think it's just changed over the years. Probably like in the 50s, maybe it was Saturdays or 60s or whatever. And then when we had it, it was on Sunday nights. So that's where he kind of got it, because, the whole family would come and sit down and they'd all watch whatever was on The Wonderful World of Disney. And I guess he found that there wasn't really anything in the kind of 80s or 90s that was sort of like that. So he decided to create this TGIF block. And then with the success of TGIF, ABC decided to maybe try this same formula on some other nights. So we first had a 3-hour comedy block on Wednesdays called The Hump, which was only one season, 1991. Then we had More Cooler MCTV on Saturday mornings from 91 to 92.
Okay, question.
Yes.
Is that where they aired shows like NYC Guys and Hang Time?
That was NBC, not ABC.
Okay.
So this is kind of the first iteration of one Saturday morning almost.
Okay, because when you mentioned TGIF, like whatever we were talking about it, my very first thought was those shows like NYC Guys and Hang Time.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, but those are always on in the morning, and I could never remember what the program was called for those.
TNBC.
Thank you.
Because it was teen and then it was NBC station. So it was the T. You had the TNBC TGIF. I know.
Anyway.
And then, so there was MCTV, which was kind of like the first iteration sort of like what would become like one Saturday morning. That ran from 91 to 92. And then they had I Love Saturday Nights, which was 1992, because there was some, I guess, kind of towards the older / younger / older. So this is where they would air like Golden Girls and things like those kind of sitcoms. So that they were kind of aimed towards like adults, but
nostalgia at the same time.
Sort of a little nostalgia. Yep. Also, Golden Girls I think Golden Girls ended in like 92 or 93. Like it went quite a bit.
It did. Yeah, that it did.
So it probably would have been in its final season when it was airing on there. And then in 1995, Disney actually bought out ABC's corporate partner. And then in 1997, they refocused the programs for teen and adult audiences. So that's when a lot of the shows that we kind of watched came in, like the Odd Man Out and
fucking loved Odd Man Out.
Right?
Loved it.
And it was so good.
So fucking good.
So funny. Nowadays, on ABC, if you go on, Friday nights tends to be dedicated to the reality shows. So you'll see like Shark Tank or any of those kind of shows are now kind of what Fridays are dedicated
for. Bachelorette.
I think those are Mondays.
Survivor.
I think it's Bachelor Mondays. But either way, it's those kind of reality shows.
I don't watch them.
I know Shark Tank. The only one I know is Shark Tank because that's the one I used to watch. Other than that, I have no idea what else is on. I think 2020 is on Friday nights at 10 o'clock maybe, or
I haven't had cable in almost a decade, so couldn't tell you.
I haven't had it in a while either. So, but I know that Friday nights was dedicated to that. TV has changed. People don't want to sit at home on a Friday night and watch just a cable channel. If they're going to do it, they're going to go watch a movie on Netflix or they're going to do something else. So that's why. And Fridays people want to party anyway. So who wants to sit at home and watch these sitcoms? So now it's just changed to reality. I'm going to go over some of kind of the first shows before we get into the prime era shows of when we were like watching it. So in the early years, some of the shows that was on there, we had, like I said, so we had Full House, as we mentioned.
Yep.
Family Matters, which was about the Winslows.
Urkel.
And I believe that was actually the first show that was kind of the family with a family of color act, I think on that time.
I think so too.
I think all the rest of them were I think that was the first one. And then there was a few other ones after that came along that still had them, because they had Hanging with Mr. Cooper. And then they also had the Hughleys and stuff. But I think that was the real first one in TGIF that had focused on a family of color, which was awesome. And they did so many good episodes, and they focused on real actual topics.
And real life topics. Yeah.
Especially that one where Eddie gets caught by the police or whatever. And he's
racially
just
profiled.
And he's like, I just don't understand it, Dad. And it breaks your heart watching these episodes.
It's like the episode of Fresh Prince.
Yes.
Where Carlton understands, he doesn't really get it because of his privilege, that he doesn't understand like the racism that was happening at that time. He didn't get it. And Will got really upset about it. I remember that episode too. That was eye-opening as well. Oh,
because it was the one where he got shot or something and he bought the gun.
No, it's where they were driving one of Phil's friends, like Jaguars, like really expensive top of the line car, like Lexus or something like that. Yeah. And they get pulled over in buttfuck nowhere in the South by some big fat old white sheriff. Yeah. And they get arrested because they're two young black kids driving a really nice luxury vehicle.
And he thought they stole it or something.
Carlton's just not understanding the racial profiling that is happening.
Yeah, he's like, this is my car, my dad. Like he's
and it took too long to get a hold of the judge whose car it was or whatever. And it was an eye-opening episode. It was definitely a lesson learning episode.
Right. And I think us having access to these as kids kind of helped some of us sort of understand a little bit more. Like, exactly. That's the one thing that they say about having representation that matters. Mm-hmm. The people, the kids who are the kids of color finally get to see themselves on TV. And then people of, say, other ethnicities like us white people who have our privilege, you can actually see what it sort of is like for them. I know it's not
open your eyes to their situation.
And I know it's not exactly how it always happens. It's going to be worse. We've seen how much more worse it is with our camera phones. Back in the 90s, we only had video cameras. So we only saw small,
we weren't exposed to it. So we didn't really know about it.
The only thing
we knew it existed, but we didn't know the extent.
You only had the Rodney King video. Like it was really hard to find all these videos because people had to have an actual video camera, not your camera phone where you could just pull it out at any moment. Next show we had was Perfect Strangers, which this one I always found was like a weird show. Like, how did just two?
I love the show. I have the first season. I have it.
Two guys just randomly fight each other, and he's like, I hate you, and he's so annoyed with it. But then they eventually become.
You don't know what happened. You don't know the story behind Perfect Strangers.
It's been a long, long time since I've watched it. My dad used to watch it all the time, though.
Larry, curly-haired guy,
cousins or something.
No, Belky is a long lost cousin.
Okay, that's what it is. Long lost.
That cousin. Grew up in old country.
In Greece.
In old country, in Greece. And he basically grew up like in a hut with a goat. Like, so he makes his way to Chicago, to the big city, to visit his cousin. I don't remember why he's coming. Yeah. But he wasn't supposed to be there for very long, but then it ends up being, a running
almost
thing.
Permanent.
Yeah. So he comes to visit Larry, and Larry I don't think has any idea that he's coming.
Oh, okay.
Because the letter that was sent him got lost in the mail, or he had no idea that Belky was coming. And so he shows up on his doorstep and chaos ensues for however many seasons.
Because all situation comedies is always something ensues and then we resolve it by the end of the episode.
Yeah. I love that show growing up. And then it was on at lunch hour with like Major Dad and what was the other one? Who's the Boss was on at lunch?
CFMT, I think it was.
I think so.
I feel like it was
like an hour. It was about 2 hours of sitcoms.
Yeah.
Like 4 episodes or 4 things, and I was able to watch 2 of them because I'd come home for lunch every day because I lived across the street from school.
I remember that. I think it was CFMT. And then we next had Baby Talk, which was apparently loosely based on Look Who's Talking, and it had Julia Duffy, George Clooney, and Scott Baio. Again, loosely based on Look Who's Talking. So there was obviously like a little baby that had some kind of talking in his head. I don't know. I don't remember much about it.
Well, I'm looking it up because that sounds super familiar to me because like I can picture it kind of.
I thought it was funny because it said George Clooney starring, and I was like, how come I've
never Tony Danza? Is that before or after Full House? I mean, Who's the Boss?
Would have been maybe the same time or just after.
I don't know. Nah.
Didn't ring a bell to me.
Nope,
and then we had Dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, not the
mama, and
it comes to the series finale, and you find out they're their cause of their own demise, much like humans will be.
Which feels like it's happening, earlier than we thought it would.
Have you watched Don't Look Up?
Not yet. It's on the list, but
we watched it last night. Oh my god,
we will be getting to it. Then we also had Step by Step with Suzanne Summers and Patrick Duffy. Yep.
Yes.
So kind of like what a first look into sort of blended families too, because divorce was not super common at that time, but it was sort of becoming a little bit more common in the 90s. So this is, I think, kind of like a first sort of blended family sort of situation.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like there's a lot of shows that have single parents and blended families. Like we're going all the way back to like the Brady Bunch, right? With the first original blended family.
Right.
But the difference is that I think Step by Step was one of the very first shows where the parents were divorced and they didn't die.
Yes, they weren't widowed. And then not only that, like the kids didn't automatically always get along. Like in the Brady Bunch, all the kids, even though they were, they got along and this and that.
Got along too well.
Right. Whereas in Step by Step, I feel like sometimes the kids kind of like the families sort of.
Oh my God, they hated each other and I loved it.
Yes, they butted heads. They didn't like because that's what actually happens when you have blended families. You're going to hate them at first, or you have to figure out each other's weird niches and quirks or things like that.
My favorite kind of like feud within that family was Dana and anybody else.
I love the cheesehead. They always kept bringing up his cheesehead or whatever it was. That always made me, I think there was one episode that focused around the cheesehead, and I can't remember what happened in that episode, but I just remember there was an episode about his cheesehead.
I have the first episode on DVD.
Nice.
Because it came with, it has the first episode of Step by Step on it, as well as the first episode of Who's the Boss.
Okay.
And it came with my first season of Growing Pains.
Well, that was like, I bought a DVD of like Blossom and California Dreams, where it only had like a few random
maybe that's what it came in, because I have those of yours.
Okay, it could have been that, because I remember it was like a few episodes of Blossom and then a few episodes of California Dreams. It wasn't the whole season, but you're like, well, this is still kind of fun.
Oh no, yeah, that's not what I have. I've Step by Step and like Who's the Boss is on it or whatever.
And then
I'm pretty sure I got it with my Growing Pains.
We also had Hanging with Mr. Cooper, as I kind of said. He was a former NBA star who became a teacher.
That was an okay show.
Coach. My dad loved it because my dad was a sporty guy. And I think he kind of knew who the guy was. Like he probably knew who Mark Cooper was. Yeah, because I think he watched basketball and stuff.
I always thought that. I never knew that Mark Cooper like was involved in basketball. I always thought that he was just a comedian who loved basketball.
An actor, yeah, who was just playing a basketball coach. That happens all the time.
And of course, we were 10, 11, 12 when the show was out. So
right, I had no idea.
No clue. I watched football. I didn't watch any other sports. So
I wasn't too into it, but Dad was hockey. So, and then in 1994 we had Boy Meets World, which went through, I think actually Boy Meets World started in 94 and went right straight through to the very end of TGIF when it it finished in 2000.
It's in every section of your list here that you have on our drive.
That was
all the year banks.
Yeah, the prime eras. I did I took a list of all the prime eras that I remember watching and these shows and everything. When they stopped playing, like the final season of TGIF, they actually had the 1 hour episode of Boy Meets World as the last episode. And then I think it was also Sabrina had an hour-long episode, I think, as well, too, in that.
For the finale?
And the finale of TGIF. Because then when it was done on TGIF, it actually went over to WB for a couple of seasons. So there was actually 2 finales for Sabrina.
Okay.
But there was
so which finale did they show on the TGIF? Was it the one where she got married or didn't get married and realized Harvey was her soulmate?
I think that's the final
with
episode.
The heart-shaped thingies. They had to fit them together.
And then at the very end, they play Gwen Stefani or something.
Sure. I just remember her leaving the church in her wedding dress and riding away with Harvey into the sunset.
I think that's the WB finale. I think it's been
a little. I remember that one, and the other episode that sticks out in my mind is the episode the Backstreet Boys are on, where they drink the talent.
They drink the talent, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't even put that in my list because there was I had a list here of all the so TGIF, again, as we said, it was a thing. So they had these in between scenes where people from the shows would like cut to, okay, now to the next scene, or we're going to
it wasn't commercials, it was like little mini segments in between,
which I learned they called them interstitials. I think when I was on Amazon is what they called it.
What?
Interstitials or something like that is what they were calling it on Wikipedia when I was reading TGIF, and I was like, whoa, I didn't realize. I just thought they were, TV show bumpers, but apparently it's an interstitial or stitials or something.
It has an actual word. Okay.
It has an actual word for it. And I didn't realize
we don't know how to pronounce. So that's cool.
So they had these kind of special events sometimes on TGIF where either in these interstitials they would have someone in doing something, or even sometimes they would carry the event over into all of the episodes. So
yeah, it would have a big crossover.
Yes. So we had the November 17th in 1995. All the theme songs for the shows were replaced with Beatles songs, except for Boy Meets World. Theirs was replaced by the Monkees because they were a special guest on that episode. So all of the theme songs for the shows changed to Beatles because I guess there was also a special for the Beatles that was going to be on later in the week. So that was kind of their fun little thing, is we're going to change all the theme songs to Beatles songs.
Okay.
So then in November 1997, they had Time Goes Insane Friday. And this one was one of my favorite ones. So the week before on Halloween, they did their Halloween episodes, and it started with Boy Meets World, where Sabrina came on as a cameo. And then at the end, Will Friedle says something about like the witches or whatever. And then Sabrina the witch. And then Salem eats this time ball. So then in the next week's episode, every single episode is in a different time zone. So we had the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. So I think it was like Boy Meets World was 50s. I think was You Wish was the 60s.
I think I remember this.
70s. And then the last show was the 80s. I think it might have been Teen Angel or something. But I remember Sabrina's was the 70s because they had like I think they were like a band or something like that. Or whatever.
I think I remember this.
Yes, this was my favorite.
This sounds really familiar.
This was my favorite one. Like I always still remember these episodes because this was like my favorite TGIF ever.
Huh.
Yeah. So they did it all across so it started.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar.
Yeah, they launched it on, like they kind of started the catalyst on Halloween, and then they continued it the next week and did 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Because obviously we're at the late 90s, we're not going to do 90s.
No, yeah. We're still in that decade.
We were still in the decade, exactly. That's like us now doing something in the 2020s. 2010s. Anyways, so in November 28th, apparently November 1997, there was a lot of crap going on. So November 28th in 1997, Hanson hosted the In-Between interstitials.
Yeah, I remember these.
They're special. They were having a special Hanson show on at 9:30 that night.
Which I'm pretty sure I still have on tape.
Right. So they did all of the bumpers, and then their special came on at 9:30. They also had sometimes where actual actors, like I said, kind of like in the time ball, actors in each other's shows would cross over into a different show. So like we said, we had Sabrina on Boy Meets World. We also had Stephanie and Steve Urkel had a little crossover.
Like
Stephanie Tanner, yep, from Full House, and Steve Urkel from Family Matters.
Well, and even Urkel was on Full House, right? He played one of DJ's friend's cousins.
Yeah, and
it was the episode that Stephanie got her glasses.
Gets glasses, and he helps her out or whatever.
Yeah,
and then he was also on an episode of Step by Step.
Yes, he was on all of them.
Those were the
two in
that...
every single TGIF show.
Okay, that was the one that they specifically had mentioned.
Like, I'm pretty sure that he was a guest star on all of them.
I thought he had made a few more
at the time that Family Matters was on. Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah, because that's the only two they mentioned. But I was like, I feel like there was other crossovers. But
yeah, I feel like we saw him everywhere.
Yeah. And when he became Stefan.
His cool machine. Like,
I didn't understand that. Like, it was funny, but
that's when Family Matters started going downhill.
Yeah, that's when it got a little weird because you're like, why is he?
The fact that Laura married him, like, right, as Stefan.
Yeah,
like, what is that telling? What is that telling the young men of that time? Oh, you're a big nerd and you like this girl. Just change your entire fucking personality and she'll marry you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like.
God,
come on, people.
Not this like, oh, let's love each other for who we are. Like, no, it's like fuck.
It was the 90s. So that's all we were told is,
we're not as woke as we are now.
Yeah, guys, we're not as woke. Things are not as woke as they were. Come on. But we all, if you listen to anything and if you watch anything, we all know that that's exactly the case nowadays. Everything in hindsight, it's just like in the 90s when people looked back on things in the 50s, they were probably still just like,
damn, that was so racist.
Right.
It was definitely wrong even back then.
But we didn't
it wasn't learned. It wasn't
everything.
It wasn't the societal norm.
Hindsight is always 2020. And you're always seeing the past from the new eyes of what you're in now. So And again, it's
different perspective.
It's the past. You can't change it. There's no way you can change it.
Just learn from it.
Exactly.
Don't make the same mistakes. That's all you can really do.
So our prime era for I found was like from like 96 to 2000. Those were like
best.
the best.
The
All the good
best.
shows. I think I watched it every Friday night. Like amazing.
Most of the time, I don't know about you, most of the time when I was watching TGIF, I'd be sitting there on the phone with my best friend watching it with me.
Well, me and Danielle were there, so it was kind of like, not that was my best friend, but I still had my sister there that was always watching. Yeah. So I had that person to talk to.
So my sisters are older than me, right? So
yeah,
my oldest was probably out partying because she's like 4 years older than me.
Yeah.
And then my middle sister just, she did her own thing. So I was on the phone with my best friend like the whole time while we watched all of these shows. So in the 96, 97 year, we had Family Matters. Sabrina premiered that year. Boy Meets World. We had The Clueless, which was a spinoff from the movie. Now, Cher was played actually by Rachel Blanchard, not Alicia Silverstone, but all of the rest of the cast was basically had come back. Yeah. The dad was different, played by different, and Josh was a different character too.
Yes.
Josh wasn't Paul Rudd.
Yeah. They were. And did they? Yeah. I think Breckenmeyer came back too, didn't he? Or was he?
I don't know. I know like Donald Faison, Stacey Dash.
Yeah.
And
Amber.
Amber was there. I can't remember her name. Eliza Donovan. Yeah, like the original cast all came back except for Cher, her dad, and Josh.
And Ty. Brittany Murphy wasn't there.
Oh, yeah. Ty wasn't even a character.
Yeah, they didn't even put her character in it either.
Yeah, they didn't cast her at all.
Completely gone. And then Step by Step was the last one in that 4-pack. Yeah. 97, 98, we started with, so we went, and sometimes I think these also kind of changed up in the time frame. So like some might be on at 8 o'clock one year, and then the next year.
Oh, their schedule, like they're ordered when they aired. Yeah.
Yeah.
They changed it up all the time.
So some of the shows still stayed the same. They just decided to move them around, just kind of, if a new show came in, maybe it was better at the 8 o'clock time zone. Whereas sometimes the later, like if it's an already established show, you're better off putting it in a later time zone. Cause if the kids want to go to bed, they'll, those type of things. So whatever things the executives decide to do, they changed up the hours. So then 97, 98, we had Sabrina, then Boy Meets World, then You Wish, and Teen Angels. So You Wish was about a genie who charms and delights a divorced family.
Oh, I loved that show. She found him in a rug.
Yes. She found him in a rug.
Yeah. She bought a rug, brought it home, unrolled it, and out popped a fucking genie.
Right? I wish.
Right?
That would be awesome. Like,
yes.
Just give me a genie.
And she was so uppity about it. Right? And like, okay, I get it at first, like before you realize, oh, magic is real. It's scary because, like you thought the thing was empty. You carried it from your car. There's no way there was a dude in there.
Right.
And you unfurl it and out pops this genie. Yeah, I'd be fucking terrified too. But the second that I found out that he's actually a genie
magical?
And he proves his magical powers, fuck yeah, I'm going to let him stay with me.
Right? Oh, you're going to clean my house and you're going to do my dishes and cook my food?
I mean, I would wish for the most selfless things. Yeah. So anytime I did wish for a greedy, selfish thing, I wouldn't feel so bad.
I would just be like, I don't need your help with much. I just need you to always make sure I have a food prepared or a food plan. That's all I need. Because that's where I wish for a fridge that never runs out of my favorite foods. Right, exactly. All I want.
Simple.
No other wishes for the rest of my life. Just something, because I hate trying to figure out what dinner is. I hate trying to shopping. So if you could just always make sure I have dinner plans and dinner food, we're good. I would want a plate that when I sit down with it in front of me, it fills with whatever it is that I want to eat at that time. Like Harry Potter. It just knows. It's just intuitive and it knows. Or it's not Harry Potter. It's Half-Blood Camp. Percy Jackson. That's what happens. But, okay, or in Hook, where you could just imagine everything you're eating. You wish though that the one episode that always sticks out in my mind is the Christmas episode where the kid wishes for Christmas every day. Oh gosh. And I remember the girl's voice. I also kind of remember the girl's voice was I just remember she was very raspy. Or she had like a raspy type voice. She's very raspy voice. She's in, do you remember the movie The Stupids? With Tom Arnold or whatever? Tom Arnold. Yeah. That she was in that with Bug Hall was her brother. Oh, okay. All right. The last one in that year was Teen Angel, which was another funny one. It did end up getting canceled, but a teen guy, dies. A 6-month-old hamburger. He dies because his friend dares him to eat a 6-month-old hamburger that was in their bedroom or something, in his bedroom or something like that. Well, yeah, it started with that he had to clean his room or he couldn't go out or something. Yeah. So they find they're cleaning and they find a burger. And he's like, I haven't been to that restaurant in like 6 months. And so he's like, oh, it should be fine or whatever. So he eats this burger. Clearly dies because it's been there for 6 months. It's freaking disgusting. So then he ends up coming back and being the guardian angel for his best friend. And just gets him in a slew of trouble. Yeah. He tries to be the guardian angel. Only imagine. He's not really a guardian angel, but he's trying. He tries. And then I think like
it gets canceled or it runs its course. It's only like 2 or 3 seasons long.
It said it got canceled.
And he eventually ends up getting his wings.
Because it's really what it is. To be a guardian angel, you're trying to get your wings. Then
I think his name was Mike, so good for you, Mike.
Good for you, Mike. And then in 98, 99, we had Two of a Kind, which was an Olsen Twins show that
I love that show. That was a good show.
We had Boy Meets World, Sabrina, Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, which gave us all our introduction to Ryan Reynolds. Yes. Sexy Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, and then another one, which was called Brother's Keeper, which eventually got canceled. So that's why I
never heard of it.
On the list. I didn't either. It was an ex-football player moves in with his brother and son. Got canceled. So it didn't seem like it had many episodes. So that usually happens. A lot of times they'll start in September with a show. That happens all the time on every network, not even Fridays, all the time. They have these new shows that, in pilot season, they seem to be okay. They order a certain amount of episodes, they play them, and then turns out no one likes them.
Nobody cares.
They cancel them. And then they usually have another set of mid-season starters or mid-season shows that they usually start in January to replace those shows that sucked and got canceled. And that's probably what one of these was, this Brothers Keepers or Two Guys and a Girl.
Whatever happened to brotherly love? Joey Lawrence, Matthew Lawrence, Andrew Lawrence. What happened to that show?
Was that a
TGIF show ever?
It wasn't a TGIF show. It was, I think, one of the other ones. But I think it started out as like a season or two on the networks, and then I think it changed to another network. I believe another network I think it got canceled, but another one picked it up or something, because it did have
because it's pretty sure it ran longer than like 2 seasons.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was a few seasons.
I think it switched to a different network at that point.
Yeah. Joey Lawrence rode his fame for as long as he could.
Yeah. And then I think he came another. He still
is. Like, he's still going strong. Is that
there was
Mike
one
and
not
Melissa?
too
Is that
long
Mike
ago?
and Melissa?
Melissa Joan Hart. Yeah, there was a TV show with a baby.
No, that's Mike and Molly I'm thinking of.
No, there's one that he was in just not
Joey and Melissa, isn't it?
I think so.
Is that what it's called?
Joey and Melissa or something.
Still on?
I don't know if it's still on, but I know it was on for a bit.
Yeah, it was on for quite a while.
Yeah.
But anyway, continuing on. Never heard of My Brother's Keeper.
Me neither. Even when I was looking at it, I was trying to find pictures and stuff, and I was like, I nothing of this, no recollection whatsoever. So the final year we had 99, which was 99 to 2000.
Yeah.
So we had Hughley's. It was okay. It wasn't too bad, but sometimes I'd watch it, sometimes I wouldn't. Boy Meets World.
Loved that show. I still watch it. I think I've got about 8 of like the 10 episodes on videotape.
And the other ones are on YouTube, I think.
Yeah. So I still fucking watch them because they are hilarious. Like, their jokes are spot fucking on.
So it was basically about a brother who was outnumbered by women. So he feels like, so it was his mom, and I think he had 2 or 3 sisters. And he basically felt like he was an expert in women because he lived around like 4 women. He has 3 sisters,
lives with his mom and her sister. So he lives with 5 women.
Yeah.
And then his best friend, who is in love with his oldest sister, Paige.
Yeah. And he comes over all the time, obviously, or whatever. But he doesn't have, his dad's not in the picture. So he doesn't have a male role. So he's like, I'm a woman expert.
Eric Von Detten was like super hot back then. Like, he probably still is. I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while.
Oh yes, he was in all of the like bops. Yeah.
He was an It Boy back then. He was in all the Disney Channel, like Airborne, and
all the magazines, Bop, Big Bopper, Teen Beat, Tiger Beat, all of it.
Me being me, did not really care for Eric Von Detten or like the It guy. I always had like the background guy, the best friend. And in this case, it was Trevor Fairman. And most of you would remember him as the guy from Clerks 2.
Behind the
one that
counter
kisses his mother on the mouth.
In the movie outfit.
Yep, the Lord of the Rings nerd, like that guy.
One ring to rule them all.
I had such a huge fucking crush on him when I was like 16.
I do remember that.
Because he's adorable in Odd Man Out. Like, he's so funny as Keith. Hilarious.
Who has half a door?
Who has half a door? Like, what am I supposed to do? Lean over it like Mr. Ed?
That was the fun. That was still the one I always remember that line. But it's true. Who does have half a door?
I want a half a door.
Right?
They're cool.
They are cool, but who has a half a door?
But here in Canada, we have screens on all our windows. So
yeah. And then lastly, we had Sabrina. And then this was actually the year that Making the Band with O-Town.
What's Mom and never mind.
Premiered as well. What?
Nothing. I was just reading the next line and never mind. I just got confused. But yeah, no, Making the Band.
Making the Band. So this was premiered in 99. 2000 with Lou Pearlman, and he was trying to create the next. Well, he already had
next boy band, like the next NSYNC,
So he wanted to create his next boy band. So he did it through a reality series, because this is when reality was starting to become. I think this was actually just before Survivor. So this was kind of.
I think this was actually like Survivor had just aired, like just premiered.
Survivor was 2000, so it was all kind of right within this. Like the 2000 was reality. When really reality hit. Like we had Survivor, we had, because we did sort of have reality before, but it was all on MTV.
Was Top Model on yet?
No, I don't think yet. I think that was like 01 or something. But we had like, because we had The Real World on MTV at this point, where that was sort of reality, but it wasn't the reality formulas competitions we have now.
Yeah, reality TV was starting to be birthed at this moment. Like the contractions have started. You're gonna start pushing soon.
And they did everything they could, because like reality was a new medium. They didn't understand. There was no formulas yet. They didn't understand they just saw competitions, and sometimes it wasn't even competitions. It was still
scripted, so it wasn't really reality.
Or some of them, if it was reality, it was like, I want to marry a millionaire.
Yeah.
Or Joe Millionaire. Or I want to
Average Joe.
Where they faked it, and the Joe Schmo show. And like they did anything and everything.
They did everything and everything they could possibly think of, and just saw what caught on.
And again, there was no shame, like the Swan, where they took ugly people, put them through plastic surgery to create new, or Beauty and the Geek, where they tried to have beauties and geeks and
I liked Beauty and the Geek.
I did too, because
some of them actually did turn out really
and the
great.
girls did kind of realize that geeks are not
that they're shallow as fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that one was kind of interesting, but at the same time, it sort of started off as a very shallow kind of concept.
Oh my gosh, yes. I don't think that show turned into what the producers expected it to.
No.
But this particular reality show, Making the Band, spawned one of my favorite boy bands, O-Town.
O-Town with the Liquid Dreams.
Orlando Town.
I still can't with that song, Liquid Dreams. Come on, guys. Like, we know.
So I was listening to that song the other day. I was listening to the song the other day, Liquid Dreams, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, listening to these lyrics, they're talking about all of these women's body parts, right? And I'm like, that would regardless of the fact that it's a song about wet dreams and like, you know, ejaculating in your dreams, it's a song about picking apart women's bodies as well.
Moving her body like J-Lo. I think he says something about Tyra, like Janet, like moving her body.
Janet Jackson's smile.
Yep.
Something about Toni Braxton.
Yep.
Like it had
Destiny's Child, I think
a little bit of Destiny's Child in there. Like they're all.
And then it's funny because everyone like literally made fun of, well, in Canada, we all made fun of Get Down because they're like, oh, it's Get Down. And they're not going to admit what it's about, but we're going to do this. And we call it, but then no one calls out stuff like Liquid Dreams, where it's literally called Liquid Dreams. And like I said, they're picking apart.
It's I dreamed about a girl who's a mix of Destiny's Child, a little touch of Madonna's Wild Style, Janet Jackson's smile, a body like Jennifer's, and you've got the star of my liquid dreams. Angelina Jolie's lips to kiss in the dark underneath Cindy C's beauty mark. When it comes to the test, well, Tyra's the best and Selma Hayek brings the rest.
Right? So, and you'll be the star of my liquid dreams. That line right there is all you need.
Star of my liquid dreams. But you know what though?
It is a catchy song though, I'm not gonna lie. But
it's a really catchy song, and fell in love with Jacob.
Yes, this is true. I know, like you said, there's always the one that everybody loves, Ashley Parker Angel, who is like the one that everybody loved.
Tiffany loved him.
Yeah.
Do you know what's so funny? And this is super embarrassing. And yes, I'm going to admit to it because, you know, it's funny and it's
20 years later. It's fine. It's fine.
20 fucking years later. And I still have these. So Tiffany and I in high school wrote each other journals. So instead of like passing notes back to each other, we just had a journal that we would just write to each other. Right. We had 4 of these journals in total throughout high school. And it eventually, in like the end of the first journal, it turned into a story about me and Jacob and her and Ashley and our lives with them.
I still have in a box, I think it's actually in this closet, from when I was like grade 5 or grade 6 when Backstreet Boys first came out, and I created my own little fan fiction about how we were like best friends with the Backstreet Boys or dating and things. Like, it's just what you do when you're a little kid and you're obsessed with a certain band. I know you were in high school, but
what's
still.
What's hilarious though is that this story it starts from the scenario of meeting them through 2 or 3 years of our real time.
Yeah.
But in our story, it's like 10 or 15 years. And we go through all of it with like in detail, every life event from like proposals and pregnancies and weddings and kids and birth and birthdays and like family trips. And like, it's a legit like fucking novel of like a fan fiction of like what it was like, what it would have been like if me and Jacob got married and Ashley and Tiffany got married.
And I remember mine, I think it was like when we were first, like computers were kind of first out, because I think I typed it out. I'm pretty sure
I did that too with Zach Hansen. I typed out every single detail of our wedding.
Now, mind you, I think it was double spaced and only one-sided. Like I did double side printed at the time or whatever, but I think it was like 30 pages or something.
Was it on the printer that had all the perforated pages and like the holes along the side and it goes?
I don't know. If I did, I pulled them all off, I think. But it's in this file, literally, it's still in this like orange file folder that I put these stickers on, and it's like Stephanie grade 5 or something. Like it's all still.
I don't think I have mine anymore, but I have my journals. Sure
it's in this box in here right now, and I don't. But because my foot's broken, I don't want to go look for it right now.
Yeah, like I have 2 of the 4 journals, and Tiffany has the other 2.
That's hilarious.
Unless you threw them out, I don't know.
The things you do when you're bored and young, and I think I still have actually. I think in that same box is all of our letters that we wrote to each other. Or a bunch of our letters we wrote to each other.
That was our social media.
Yeah, that was our social media. Exactly. Like writing notes back to each other and stuff. And I see the meme out now where it's like one Billy Madison joke had to last you like 10 years because you didn't have memes and jokes.
Because information didn't pass as rapidly as it does now.
That's like, stop looking at me, Schwan. I think me and Danielle legit used that one for 10 years. Like literally every time I'd be like, stop looking at me, Schwan. Like, I think sometimes I still even use it. Let's be real. But yeah, we had to like live off of like one joke for like 5 years from a movie.
We quoted what Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison
forever,
and his albums.
Like, oh my god, piece of shit car. I got a piece of shit car.
Diesel gas sucks my ass.
Right?
Fucking pile of crap.
The spring Pokeballs.
You never ever get the pussy.
Right? I remember the trailer singing those songs. Those were great.
Oh god, love it.
Oh, okay. We'll have to do those for another episode, guys, for sure. We'll have to talk about Adam Sandler.
Have an entire Adam Sandler fucking episode.
A whole Adam Sandler episode.
Okay, moving on.
Back onto it. So that was the
TGIF.
Again, so the final season was in 99 to 2000. And the final episodes was Sabrina and Boy Meets World, because they were kind of, as I said, they've kind of been the mainstay of it for a long time.
They were the main 2 shows that were the longest running on that.
Because Boy Meets World was 94, it premiered, and it was right through to 2000. And then Sabrina was 96 and straight through. They were the ones that lasted the longest. And when I think about that, I'm like, if Sabrina from 96 to 2000, that's only basically her in high school.
Yeah.
So I think what it was is when she finished high school, that's when I think it switched over. And then
she went to college. Yeah.
That's when it was on, I think, the W.
Because I remember her going to college and stuff. I remember that.
So I think they canceled it on TGIF when she was in high school or whatever, at the end of high school or something. And then I think college was when they put it over to that one. So then when she got married, that would have been the final finale. And I think that had to be like 03 or 04 or something like that. And
that's not going to take me to very I tried here. Season 4. It would have been season 4.
Yep.
Would have been the finale on TGIF. No. Go away. Accept. Okay, sure. I'll accept your cookies. I don't care.
Cookies.
No. Oh, sorry, my bad. That was the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh, the new ones, not the old ones.
Yes.
We have what was I gonna say? No, I had something.
I don't know, I'm sorry.
Oh. So in the night.
Take a drink, Steph. Take a drink.
I don't have my water bottle up here.
Here you go.
There we go. Yay. Do you have anything?
Always have a full drink when we start these, Steph.
I usually do, but my crippleness doesn't allow me to easily get to the stuff right now.
Can't hobble and double fist at the same time?
Not if I want water in it.
The look on your face, you're just like, what the fuck?
Well, because I was like, well, unless if I still want water in it, because when I hobble around and if it doesn't have a lid, it's just going to fall all over the place.
You have to reinvest in sippy cups.
I have my Yetis. I can take like my Yeti water bottle, but I just forgot this morning. So
anyway.
So when the finale came, I was actually reading that the Boy Meets World finale was actually apparently only ever premiered twice. So they had it on the actual finale date. And then during the summer, they replay on Fridays. They still had the TGIF, but they play like that season's, usually episodes on repeat during the summer.
Oh,
So then right before TGIF was going to start again, but didn't, they re-aired that final episode of Boy Meets World the week before TGIF was supposed to start. So it was only ever played twice.
Oh.
In its original, whatever. They probably went, now that it's been in syndication, they probably played it. But at the time, that was the only ever 2 times that it was ever played.
And that was like the final episode, right?
The final, where Mr. Feeney says, you know,
like, I love my kids or whatever.
Class is dismissed.
Class dismissed. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember that. Even as like a kid in 2000 or whatever, I bawled my eyes out in that.
Oh, so did I. It's an end of an era.
Right. And Mr. Feeney, like he was just.
I mean, and even considering how terrible the series finale of Full House was, I still fucking bawled my eyes out too.
Oh, that one was so bad, where she just falls off a horse and gets
amnesia. She got amnesia. I love how often they talk about it in Fuller House. Like how often it's made fun of that episode, that specific episode. They're like, you wouldn't believe the crazy thing. Like Aunt Michelle even got amnesia. Like it's or like how crazy it's that Michelle fell off a horse. Like
it was. It didn't make any sense to me either.
Yeah, they talk about the really fucked up storylines on Fuller House a lot. I should know. I've watched the entire series like 6 fucking times already.
Did not one and Fresh Prince end on at the same time too? I think they ended
so.
The same year. I feel like I feel like I might remember watching. Like I think they were both on Tuesday nights. I feel like I might have watched the finales of the two.
No, I think Fresh Prince I think was later on, like 98 maybe.
Oh, okay.
And I know Full House was 96. And did you know that there is a conspiracy theory, I guess, but like people theorizing that the Full House set, like the kitchen specifically, was repurposed as the set for Friends, for the girls' apartment. I've heard that and I'm like, nah, that can't be right, because Full House ended in 95 and fucking Friends started in 94. So that can't fucking be right at all. So Fresh Prince finale was, May 20th, 96.
And then Full House?
Full House was May 23rd, 95.
Oh, okay. So there was a year between.
So a year in between. Yeah.
Okay.
Michelle suffers from amnesia after a horseback riding accident.
Which would make sense, because I remember, like I said, I watched one of them at, I think it was Mark's aunt or Mark's sister's house, because I remember, because if it was May 20th, that would have been May 2-4 weekend basically for us.
Yeah.
And I remember because there was, I think I remember, like, because it was May 2-4 weekend or something around there, and they were doing fireworks just across the street or something, or we were there.
I remember that. I remember they had their house for sale.
Okay.
And one of their potential buyers was Donald Trump and Ivanka. Ivana. Ivanka's his daughter.
Yes, Ivanka's the daughter.
No fucking difference.
Right.
anyway.
Ex-wife too. Ivana, ex-wife. No.
Yeah. Donald and Ivana.
Donald and Ivana. Yeah. And so when we had the reiteration in 2003, they tried to relaunch it. They added some new sitcoms, because obviously most of those other sitcoms were kind of already done.
Yeah.
So it was with sitcoms like Hope and Faith, 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter, George Lopez, Less Than Perfect, but got canceled again, unfortunately, due to low ratings.
The 8 Simple Rules, favorite. Fucking loved that show. It was fantastic.
John Ritter before he had passed away.
That episode, where 8 Simples came back after John Ritter's death.
I think I didn't watch it much, but I think I
up until I saw John Wick for the first time a few weeks ago. I've never bawled so fucking hard at a TV show or movie. That particular episode, when it's literally like, because you have like whatever was the last episode he filmed was aired, and then the next episode he wasn't there, like he had already died, so they had to film his death and the funeral and what happened and why he died. Like they still had to film it all still while it was the feeling, their emotions were still fresh.
Oh yeah,
this episode came out within
not long
weeks
after
of his death, like not long after. And like I'm sitting there watching it and just watching like Kaylee Cuoco, Katie Seagal, and like the other actors, just like I'm thinking about it and I'm gonna start fucking crying. Yeah, because it was just, because it starts with,
you're already going through your own personal emotions, and now you've got to relive them again through in the exact same reason, like the exact same way.
It started, I think the episode starts with them coming back from his funeral.
I think so.
And then they have Kaylee Cuoco's character it's kind of like a breakdown, and she's like, the last time I saw my dad, I told him I hated him, and then he drops dead of a heart attack in the grocery store, and that's actually kind of how John Ritter did pass away.
Yeah,
and it was just so emotional. It was not something I was ready to watch, but I watched it, and it was so fucking heartbreaking. I don't think I cried as hard until I saw John Wick for like the puppy scene. Just, oh my God, never fucking again. But
anytime it's a puppy, no matter what, you're always crying the worst.
Oh, I don't care who you kill off. Leave the fucking animals alone.
Right? I agree.
But it was heart-wrenching. That was a great fucking show. Great fucking show.
Yeah.
It was just lost too soon because of him.
So we did go over the 03 and 05 iteration. Again, canceled for poor ratings. I don't know if I found much on the 2018 relaunch of it. I can't remember what shows were part of that one.
What was Less Than Perfect?
With Sarah Rue.
Right. Yes.
And she was, she was, that was kind of when she was going through her like transition almost. She was still a little chubby, but she was losing the weight during that one.
Yes.
So I found that was kind of when she, changed.
That one was good. What about was like War at Home or like Grounded for Life ever on those TGIFs?
We're not going to do it here. The Return. So what does it say? They had George Lopez, Life with Bonnie, freshman series, Married to the Kellys and Hope and Faith, Joan of Arcadia and Jay.
Oh, I love Joan of Arcadia.
Complete Savages. And then that was all it had on that one. It said there. And then in 2018.
So here, I got it. Oh, sorry, 2018 fall lineup 2018 lineup.
Yep.
So there was Fresh Off the Boat.
So good.
Speechless.
I don't remember that one.
Child Support. Hold on, I have to open another list. What
is Speechless? Hold on. Oh no, I did watch a couple episodes of Speechless. It was Minnie Driver, and she was her son was had cerebral palsy. I think it was on the season.
Yeah, that's it. Just those three is all it says.
Oh, Child Support's a game show. And Fresh Off the Boat was just hilarious. Oh, and then ABC. They changed it to ABC Friday Night in 2019, and then that one had American Housewife. I don't know. That was with the girl from Four Christmases. She plays Jon Favreau's wife.
Sure.
Oh, she kind of plays like a white trash girl. Oh, if you watched Mike and Molly, she was the sister.
I didn't really watch that closely. Maybe a few episodes.
Because there was Mike and Molly, there was the sister with the brown hair, and then the mom who was Swoosie Kurtz. And the sister was kind of like a floozy, but not. She's really funny. But I never watched American Housewife because I thought it was kind of a silly show.
I never watched any of those either.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's kind
of. What was your favorite TGIF show? Which one did you tune into every Friday to watch?
I think it was definitely Sabrina was my favorite. I think that was the one I was always tuning into.
Growing up, it was definitely Sabrina.
Like I did like Boy Meets World, but I feel like Sabrina was the one that I was like, okay, I can't miss them.
I like fantasy. I like magic. I like not real life. So like Teen Angel, You Wish, like those were right up my alley. I love magical type shows.
And I remember with Boy Meets World, like I watched it for a few seasons, and then when they went to the middle school, I think I sort of stopped watching it for a bit, and I don't know why. I don't know if it was that it just, I don't know, but I think when I go back, I'm like, I feel like that was maybe when we're trying to touch on real subjects more so. So maybe I wasn't like liking it so much because it was just too hitting close to home. Maybe. And then I went back to it again.
Do you remember the Boy Meets World episode, the Halloween episode where Jennifer Love Hewitt guest starred? And I believe it was
Angela keeps screaming all the time.
Angela scream or
at everything all the time.
And Angela said something about the screams are supposed to be hers, like I'm the screamer around here or something like that. I remember that. Yeah. I
remember that. I can't remember if it was that one, but I remember there was one where there was an episode where she just every time something she would just scream.
Because she was Scream Queen. She was in like I Know What You Did Last Summer had just come out.
Yeah.
Or it was coming out at that time.
Yeah.
And so like when you have a lot of guests or stars that,
I'm pretty sure she was dating Will Friedle at the time too.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say. Like he came, like Angela was Will Friedle's character's girlfriend.
Yeah,
wasn't she?
No,
or no, she was Sean's girlfriend. Yeah, Sean's girlfriend. And then she came in as Will Friedle's girlfriend in that episode.
Yeah, because they were actually dating in real life. Yeah.
Yeah. And something happened and she screams, and then Angela was like, "What you screaming about? Woman, that's the one that screams around here," or something like that, or something. There's
something about that. Yeah.
It was like an hour-long episode. Yeah, I remember that. Like all the specialty like Halloween episodes and things like that from the lineups.
From all the lineups.
I missed that.
And then Two Guys and a Girl in a Pizza Place for some reason changed into just Two Guys and a Girl. They got rid of the pizza place.
Yeah, because they quit the pizza place.
Yeah, or something like that.
Because Ryan Reynolds' character moved on to something else.
Oh, okay.
He stopped working at the pizza place. And then Pete, his roommate, like the architect.
Okay. Yep.
And he was dating that bitch Ashley. I do not like her. And then who was their girl lady friend? The blonde. I want to say Taya Leone, but it's not. She looks like Taya Leone, but it's not.
Yeah. Hold on. Two guys, a girl in a pizza place. Trailer Howard. Her name was Sharon Carter in the show.
Yeah, like I can picture her.
Nathan Fillion was in it.
Oh, I love Nathan Fillion. Oh, he was so good in Buffy. Yeah, her.
Yeah. Trailer Howard.
Her name is Trailer?
Yeah, Traylor. Taylor with an R.
Trailer
Howard.
Okay.
She was also on Monk.
Okay. Never watched it.
So,
but yeah, no, Two Guys and a Girl was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It was a great goddamn show.
Like I said,
yeah, I think like
the baby Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, baby Ryan. Or Frosted Tips.
And that was before that was actually before he did Van Wilder.
Yeah.
Just like a year or two before. And then that's when everyone really started to get to know Ryan Reynolds. Because Van Wilder was just hilarious. At least I think it was a pretty big movie back then in 2001.
Yeah, it was right up there with like American Pie.
Yeah, it was in that same vein, and everyone kind of liked those kind of movies at the time, those comedies and raunchy comedies is what it was.
Definitely loved the sequel. Taj Mahal, Van Wilder 2.
Oh, The Rise of Taj. I don't.
Rise of Taj, yeah, where he goes to the fucking Oxford school or British school. And
I don't think I've seen that one in a long time. I'll have to watch that one.
Oh, it's such a good fucking movie.
So what was your favorite TGIF show in the lineup?
Well, I think I would have to say Sabrina. Out of like the entirety of it, I'd have to say Sabrina. But Odd Man Out definitely had my attention more that one season that it was out, that whole 13 episodes that it had.
Yeah.
But and like I don't know, and You Wish was so good. But Sabrina was way better than You Wish. Yes. Sabrina, out of all like the magical shows that dealt with magic and fantasy or whatever, Sabrina. Absolutely Sabrina. Like fuck. And Full House, you know.
But it also went
Tuesday.
We know it went to
Tuesday. It moved to Tuesday. Because like Full House was my fucking jam. Because like I
love dinosaurs too.
I'm not a middle child.
Yeah.
But I totally like idolize Stephanie Tanner. And
I love Stephanie because we had the same name.
And as an adult, like, and we were also the same age. I grew up with Stephanie being my age. Yeah. And like, as an adult, I'm Stephanie Tanner as an adult now. Like you watch Fuller House, everything that Stephanie is, like, that's me. Like, I love her. She's like, I fucking love her.
We're definitely not DJ.
She's my female soulmate. I fucking love her so much. And then I listened to her podcast, and I got her book for Christmas, and I finished it in 3 days, and it's so good. And I understand her so much more now. Like, I get it. So good. I can't believe the shit she went through. My goodness. Anyway, moving on.
It's like anybody in Hollywood. They all have some kind of interesting story of the transitions and the.
No, I know. And I just found out that Betty White has 3 books, and I'm so going to fucking buy them and read them. Or I might just listen to them because she probably does her own audio stuff.
On Audible or whatever.
Yeah.
There's also a bunch of different documentaries on like Netflix and Crave and things like that.
Yeah, and I'm rewatching. I'm watching Golden Girls because I was too young when Golden Girls was out the first time.
I did that one like a year and a half ago because I was downloading. See, it wasn't honest. The thing that really fucking pissed me off was before its 25th anniversary. So I started. I think it was maybe 2019. I started to buy them off of Google Play because I really wanted to see Golden Girls. Wasn't on any streamings, and it didn't look like it was going to be on a streaming for a while. So I started buying them season by season on Google Play, and I got to season 3. I was about to buy season 4. 25th anniversary of Golden Girls, so they put it on fucking streaming. So I'm going to eventually buy the rest of the seasons just so then no matter what, I always have them digitally. Yeah. But and I got to finish them, but it just made me annoyed because I was like, I could have been watching them for free if I had just waited, but it was like, oh, so I ended up finishing it, which was kind of fun, which was funny. Because again, same thing. I wasn't old enough when Golden Girls was out to really.
Was on the first time, yeah.
To appreciate
it. 85. It was 85 to 92.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was literally, I was born in 85. Like,
yeah. I was 2 to 9.
So maybe I might have seen episodes with my grandma, but I definitely don't remember them.
Yeah. But so I also started. I binged the entire first season yesterday on Friday of Hot in Cleveland.
Oh, I remember watching that when it first came out.
I watched it when it first came out too, and everything. And I got into like a couple of seasons, like second or third season over the night, and I had stopped watching it because I didn't have cable anymore and whatever, right? And so like with Betty White,
right?
Rip Betty White. With her passing away, like she literally, other than
Proposal. Because I'm like, oh, Betty White.
Other than Anton Yelkin, she is the only celebrity I actually cried about when she passed. Like, I was so fucking upset. I didn't believe it at first. I had to Google it, and at first I had to read several websites to even believe it. And no, I was so upset. Anyway,
the first link I saw was a legit link, so I was like, oh.
Yeah, so watching Hot in Cleveland, I gotta say, my favorite Betty White face is her mean face. Her, like, when she gets mad about something, oh, fucking hilarious. Like, oh, I love her. Her.
That night, or like the night after or whatever, we ended up watching The Proposal.
Yeah.
And all I remember was like, woo, and then the sweat drip from my balls. And then Randall was like, really? The gods want your balls? Or whatever it is. Because she's like, feel whatever. And she's like, vowels. And she's like, ooh, and then like Sandra Bullock's is like, the only thing she could think of is like, to the window, to the wall.
Drip down my balls.
Yeah. And so I always love that. Like, that one was one of my favorite Betty White scenes forever. Because like, she's still doing her thing, but she's like, did I just hear that?
Is that what I just heard? Oh no, she's a classic.
She's
fucking
like
classic legend.
I was saying that she's like it's like it was like Hollywood's grandma collectively died. Like everybody's grandma passed away when she passed away. Like,
you cannot find anyone on this planet that does not like Betty White. Right? And if anybody admits to not liking Betty White, well, you can go straight to fucking hell.
There was a BuzzFeed YouTube thing I was looking at, or one of those top 10 or 20 Betty White moments. And most of them were her in her later years. Like a few of them were her at like either she was accepting an award for something, or some kind of like when she's on a stage accepting like either an award for lifetime achievement or just something. And she kept being like, oh, I'm glad that, like, I'm so appreciative of you have allowed me to entertain you for all this time. Not that like, oh,
so humble. She's so modest.
Just like, oh my God, that woman, like, she just
so kind. And like her work for animals and everything on her birthday, I'm donating.
There was also the when she had the black tap dancer on her show, and they kept telling her, no. And
Arthur Duncan. Yep.
Yeah, that was Arthur Duncan. She's like, cancel me all you want.
Yeah, go ahead and cancel me. I'm just gonna give him more fucking time because y'all suck. Like, he's fantastic.
Like, and a person is a person.
She was just, and she is from that generation,
that era. Yeah,
she's so kind and so humble and so open-minded and so accepting and so inclusive and everything. You can't say, oh, it's a generational thing when you have Betty White as a fucing example.
All the things that Golden Girls did for LGBTQ, there are quite a few episodes about it.
I'm on episode Golden Girls. I think I'm almost on the first season.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah. And the amount of femininity going against the patriarch, the LGBTQ community, like things like that
everything in that show was so before its time.
Is so ahead of its time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but in 1985, how did they get away with saying bitch on TV?
Because they're old ladies. They're allowed to get away with anything.
You couldn't say that like on.
Oh, I know. In the 90s.
In the 90s?
Yeah.
Like,
I remember that.
But man, it was groundbreaking. It was fantastic. And just Betty White, we love you.
Rest in peace.
Shine bright. Enjoy your time with all those animals and Alan.
And that's what you said. Like,
and the rest of the girls.
The one article said that like her last words apparently were Alan or something.
But to all of you who don't know, her 100th birthday is July 17th. Go out and donate 17th? To a local animal shelter.
January 17th. You said July 17th.
Did I say July?
You did.
Did I really?
Yes, you did.
Motherfucker. Holy shit.
January 17th.
Because I'm born in July and I just want something else closer to Betty White for me.
Right.
January 17th.
Yes.
Go donate to any animal supporting shelter or rescue that you can.
Yeah.
In honor of Betty. Back to GIF.
Yeah.
Staple of her childhood.
Right. So I don't know if there's much else more about it. I mean, like, obviously different stations have tried to recreate the same kind of sort of things on different nights, different kinds of blocks, different iterations. Like we're saying, TNBC for the kids on Saturday mornings. ABC had one Saturday morning. All of these kind of blocks to sort of help promote, I guess, their stations and get people to watch the stations and everything like that. And this was just, I think,
and then they had like the hosts and stuff in between.
Yeah, but I think this had to be one of the most biggest block ever was TV.
So I still maintain that we grew up in the best fucking time. Best fucking time.
That's what they keep saying. The 90s is kind of the last great decade, they say.
Well, because I mean, if you think of what we've lived through, what we've witnessed the birth of.
9/11 was the change of the world. If that didn't happen, we would probably be in a different world. I'm not saying it would be what we have now, but things would definitely be different. Because would we still have kept that 90s prosperity going? Would it eventually crash in a different way? Like, it's hard to say what would have happened if 9/11 didn't happen.
No, there's no point in wondering because you can't change the past.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, like, because if you think about it, like that was like, it wasn't that the 2000s came in. It was 9/11 was really the turning point. That
changed
everything. Security, how we do things, how we do that. The stock market got crushed because like there were all these catalysts that happened because of this one incident. And it's just, like I said, it would be kind of intriguing in an alternate universe to see what things may have changed out if we never had that. Would we still have that prosperity?
You know? If 9/11 was a Mandela effect.
Oh my gosh, no.
Like, could you imagine if someone tried to convince you that it didn't happen?
Right?
Like, I'd be like, fuck you. I still have the magazine.
Right? I literally right here have the magazine. Like, come on. I'm pretty sure if we go back, we could probably find someone might have a picture of like something.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's interesting sometimes to like wonder what if.
Yeah.
But
I know we can never actually know, but it is just kind of interesting to be like
everything happens for a reason, right?
If there was a parallel universe, it would be kind of fun to just think about what we would be like as a society if that hadn't happened.
I wonder what New York would look like now.
Well, we'd still have
if it never happened.
For sure, the Twin Towers would still be standing. So that
skyline but I wonder what other adding or additions would have gone on to the skyline around the Twin Towers if some other major catastrophe would have happened.
Yeah.
If not for 9/11. Like what, I don't know. We could wander about this for a long time. There's no point. It happened. It was horrible and tragic. We are trying
changed our world forever.
Getting over it, but
now we're going through the same thing. Pandemic has now changed our world for a different and
how many before and after events can our generation live through?
Well, that's what they're saying. They're like, oh, it's the first in a generation economic downturn. It's like, fuck you. Millennials have been through their third economic downturn, and we're still
once in a lifetime.
Right. Once in a lifetime economic downturns, and we've been through a fucking third one. So you know what? Fuck all of you and saying
life-changing events.
Yeah, exactly.
The world before and after 9/11, the world before and after COVID, like the world before and after SARS.
Right. Like, the world before and after the Gulf War, the world before and after,
all these natural disasters and climate change and
just Occupy Wall Street, the housing crisis in the mid 2000s,
the war in Afghanistan, the war on drugs, like just
right. There's
really makes you hate the world, doesn't it?
Right. But remember, millennials apparently are the most complaining generation.
Whatever. I think we have a lot to complain about.
So I think that's all we kind of sort of have right now on TGIF.
Yeah, I think that's all I've got on that topic as well.
That's all I got to say about that. Forrest Gump.
Okay, for it. I know.
Come on.
Just like, where did that come from?
I don't know.
Hey, Jenny.
I just kept on running.
I don't want to run anymore. I'm tired. I'm going to go home now.
And on that note.
So wrong.
Right.
Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, listening to us babble on about things.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
And thanks for coming back after our little Christmas time hiatus. We had to, regroup and get some more ideas going.
I had to get over my COVID.
Right. We had to get over all of our sicknesses and get over the freaking back to the grind after vacation.
I've been off for 2 weeks. I go back to work for the first time tomorrow, and it's gonna suck so hard.
It's gonna be so hard.
It's gonna be so hard. I have to be on my feet for 8 hours. I'm dreading it.
Right after being lazy for
and then having to be around people, like being outside of my house. I haven't left my house in 2 weeks other than to take the dog for a walk. So I'm just
It's gonna be a fun time.
It's gonna be a fun fucking time, and I'm so not looking forward to it at all.
Right.
But I need a paycheck, so.
Yes, we all need paychecks.
Because I have to move.
Boo.
Boo.
No.
All right, well, that is it for us today. Thank you for joining us for this topic of conversation. We appreciate it.
Yes, and if you have any other notes on TGIF or what your favorite, shows were or what your memory of it was, send us an email. Let us know. We would love to hear your feedback on any of our episodes either. Come
find us on all of our social medias and
Instagram. You can email us. You can, find us on Facebook.
Subscribe to our YouTube, all of our most of our episodes are on there, I believe.
Yeah, you can find us on Spotify. I think the few Christmas ones aren't on there yet because
you think second season we'd have this part down.
I have a bumper that I can put at the end that has it all anyways. I just
I know. And then we end up just saying it twice.
Right? It's fine. Because this one's all jumbled. People can't really understand. So the other one is just nicer.
And it's our first one back, season 2, for having hiatus, being off. So
again, we are out of our sorts because of Christmas holidays. We have
that's what I'm blaming.
I'm totally blaming it as well.
All right, we will see you guys next time. Have a good one.
See you on the next episode. Have a good day, night, whenever you're listening. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you liked it, be sure to check out our previous episodes on our website at www.millennialspod.com. And also you can check them out on Spotify, Anchor, Google, or Apple Podcasts. While you're there, hit the follow and subscribe buttons so you can stay up to date on all of our latest episodes. Also, you can follow us on all of the socials, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, at Turn of the Millennials Pod, and like us on Facebook to leave a comment and a review. We greatly appreciate it. We will see you next episode.